There's good teams, there's great ones, and then there are teams of destiny. And make no mistake, Washington is a good team. Washington is a great team. But it feels like after last night's performance and what Michael Penix was able to do on the brightest stage with the biggest lights down in the bayou, this is a team of destiny. Let's talk about the Huskies' win over the Texas Longhorns in the Sugar Bowl. If you are new here, welcome on into the channel. My name is Cole Thompson. I'm a radio show host based in Houston, and I talk college football daily. So if this is the type of content you enjoy, plus anything going on with coaching searches, the transfer portal, national championship news, Washington back in the finals for the first time since 1991. Make sure that you smash that subscribe button down below because we're going to get you locked in and covered on everything going into this week. Tell your friends, your family, your mortal enemies, best of bros, college football aficionado fans, and Washington faithful. I know there's a lot of you already subscribed in the channel. Tell everyone about this channel because we're on the race to 5,000 subscribers, then 25,000, then 50,000, and ultimately we're going to get to 100,000. So jump on in while the water's fine. Give me a follow on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson. That way, conversations surrounding our favorite sport never have to stop flowing. Final score down in the Superdome, 37 Washington, 31 Texas. And this was a game that was broken up into three parts. But before we go any further, just a reminder, let's appreciate what Washington has done this year. They have flown under the radar with almost every national pundit. And when given the opportunity to either hitch your wagon alongside Kalen DeBoer and the Fighting Huskies, or picking this to be the week where they all come crashing down and back to reality, most people chose the latter. Most people thought that Washington's success, their epic run throughout the Pac-12 in a dominant year where the final season of a conference ended up being its best, everyone picked against them, except yours truly. Start of the year, I said that Washington was going to be a team that found their way into the college football playoff. And I said that they were going to be a team that had a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. And I said that this was a roster that you might want to sleep on, but best of luck to you if you're a betting man, because I can tell you this much, you're winning a lot of funds if you cashed in early. And last night's game was a culmination of what makes this team so great. Physically enforcing, they showed their attributes defensively by corralling and getting into the backfield and forcing Quinn Ewers to feel the pressure early. Number two, their willingness to attack deep. We knew that Michael Penix Jr. was going to be able to sling it a country mile. Guess what? Did it on multiple occasions last night to Roma Dunze, Jalen Polk, Jalen McMillan. Didn't matter who was his receiver. Number 9 was connecting for a big-time game, and they showed discipline. Turnover battle. That was honestly one of the biggest assets to this game. One team had 2, the other team had 0. That alone is a reason why you believe in Washington, because of they have a culture and an identity set in place. Hey, we get inside the red zone, we're giving it to number 7. We know that Dylan Johnson can fight for those hard yards and punch it in for 6. We want to go deep. We got 3 wide receivers that are soon going to be strapping it up on Sundays. One of them is going to find a crease. One of them is going to find an open avenue, and one of them is going to set us up for a big-time play to at least walk away with 3 points instead of punting on the next drive. That was Washington's MO, and they directed it, and they enabled it to a T last night. Everywhere across the board, Washington showed you their strengths. They left everything out in the kitchen sink, and they showed the world, hey, keep betting against us. We're okay with that. Michael Penix Jr., pretty decent day in my opinion. Over 400 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, completing 11.3 yards per pass, 76.3 completion rating. These are the stories that when you look back in the history of college football and we talk about what occurred during the season, you can't tell without Michael Penix Jr. That's just the way it is. And credit to him. Kid was going to give up on football, begin the next chapter of his life, and he gets a phone call from Kalen DeBoer. Hey, I remember what I saw from you down in Bloomington. You want to try and win this stuff up in Seattle? Got a scholarship for you. He believed. He took a shot. He didn't care about the injuries. He didn't care about what happened in the past when he was at Indiana. He wanted a fresh start, and it was the best thing for him. But also, you got to give a lot of credit to Kalen DeBoer. The game plan, the execution, the battle tested, and the readiness of this roster going into a game where you knew Texas was probably going to be the favorite. You knew the Longhorns had a roster and players across the board that could hold their own against you. And you knew this was a team that actually meshed up pretty well with you offensively. You got Roma Dunze, they got Xavier Worthy. You got Jalen Polk, they got a guy in Adonai Mitchell. By the way, 5 touchdowns in his entire career, played in 5 playoff games. Come on. Like, we knew he was going to find it in for 6. They have a good number 3 target in Jalen McMillan. They have a good number 3 target in Jatavion Sanders. They can run the football inside the red zone. You can run the football inside the red zone. That was the way that this game went. And at the end, discipline carried weight. The limited turnovers, the ability to capitalize and put up points instead of punts, and the physicality. The offensive line may not have been perfect this year, but you understand based off the play concepts and the way that Michael Penix was able to play behind the front five, that's the reason they won the Joe Moore Award. They weren't the most elite offensive line when it came to physicality and sturdiness. They knew the strengths of their quarterback. And because of that, they played to it. And now you're walking away with 60 minutes left in the college football season to win a national title. A lot of people want to go back to my thought process of where I came from when it came to picking Washington to win the Pac-12, because this was a team that last year hit its stride at the right time. They lost 2 games, one to UCLA, and it nearly was a win, and they nearly fought back to complete the comeback against Arizona State, both on the road in the first season of a brand new coaching staff from a roster that the year prior was so abysmal you couldn't trust that Jimmy Lake was going to be able to fix it. And that's why Jen Cohen made the tough decision, even though he was a disciple and longstanding employee underneath Chris Peterson. We got to do what's best for our program. We have goals and aspirations and dreams of winning national titles, and you're not meeting the standard. But the reason why I picked Washington at the start of the year, look at the returning production. And I'm not talking about just with the offense. It was great to know that Roma Dunze was coming back. And Jalen McMillan, who had an epic day in San Antonio against Texas, was coming back. And you had a hope and inclination that the offensive line was going to be more sturdy. And you added in a really good running back in Dylan Johnson. But when Michael Penix Jr. said, I want to come back one more time, that was it for me. That was where I realized I have the leader that will set the tone in the locker room. I have the leader that will come back and demand excellence from every 10 players that step on the field with him. And I have a quarterback that is gunning to rewrite history. The story of Michael Penix was a very tragic one if you really think about it. Guy has all the care in the world. Guy has all the upside and potential. And his scholarship is taken away from Tennessee. So he goes to Indiana and injuries start stockpiling, whether it be a throwing shoulder injury, whether it be a torn ACL, whether it be an ankle injury. He can't stay healthy. He wanted a shot to make sure that when the story of Michael Penix Jr. is told in the history of college football, it's a bright one. It has a happy ending. And he's 60 minutes away from painting himself in the history of college football. Kalen DeBoer, the buy-in from this team, from the jump. I mean, this is not just from players either. This is from coaches. Ryan Grubb last season was one of the hottest up-and-coming names in the industry at offensive coordinator, and Nick Saban wanted him. Nick Saban phoned up a call to Seattle and said, what will it take to get you down to Tuscaloosa? You have to be Kalen DeBoer. That's what it is. That's what it's going to take. And you saw the buy-in from the coaching staff. And once you get that buy-in, the players follow by example. So those who are in charge of calling plays and getting teams ready and studying the film and implementing knowledge on these young players, they bought in last season. 11 wins was good, but we know we're better than that. 11 wins is fine, but not for a team like Washington. And then throughout the entire regular season, the continued drama and the uptick of negativity surrounding this roster reached its end goal last night, and it culminated with one of the biggest performances we've ever seen from a quarterback and a consistent game plan from an offensive-minded coach who's won. That's another thing. We can talk about what it means to win at the National League level. We can talk about what it means to win when you're a Power 5 school, but winners just win. It doesn't matter if they're playing in Podunk, Idaho, or if they're playing on the biggest stage down in New Orleans. If you're a winning coach, you find ways to win and rally the troops in times of adversity. And that's everything Kalen DeBoer did throughout the regular season. If I am a betting man, if I am a Washington fan, I am begging that the national big heads continue to pick against Washington. I don't want them ruining the Huskies' magic. I want people to continue to doubt what this team has done because they've done it all year. Why stop now? You're right at the finish line. Why not wait just 60 more minutes for you to be able to say, I told you Washington was coming back down to reality. Well, they're coming back down to reality, win or lose, with a shot at a national championship, the first in over 30 years. They're walking away with the best season ever cemented in Seattle. They're walking away with a roster that showed the world on every given Saturday, we mean business. We damn belong. So even if they don't win the national championship, they've done more than overexceed expectations. They've done everything possible to make sure that the critics are silenced and they're sitting in their seats, twiddling their thumbs, wondering, Why was my prediction wrong? Your prediction was wrong because if you doubted Washington, and that was your first mistake. Your prediction was wrong because if you didn't realize that they don't have an off switch, and in fact, they're an amplifier turned up to 13 to where if you strum the chord one time, an explosion is about ready to go on. And that's what makes Washington special. Go ahead and pick against Washington. You've done it all year. Why continue to stop now? Because I can tell you this much. Teams of destiny don't come around often. But the performance you saw last night, the way that this team is bought in throughout the regular season, the capabilities of what this roster can be, that's a team that's a team of destiny. And that's a team that's 60 minutes away from cementing its status as one of the greatest stories in college football we've seen in a hot minute. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.